Now we're going to ask the next group of speakers to come up. The point in having representation is to show the kind of power that we can have as a coalition of people, of unions, of campaigns, of people that are fighting back. The idea is that we come together. We come together, we're stronger. If we're fighting each other's campaigns, if we're drawing the links between all the different struggles. So the next group of speakers, really interesting. We're going to hear people that's been on strike. We've got Danielle that's come over from France, which is really incredible that you're here with us in Glasgow. We're so delighted you're here at the rally. And we're also going to hear from United Hospitality as well. And then after that, we'll wrap up with a couple of final speeches. Now the next speaker, I want everyone to give a huge round of applause to, because the RMT have shown there's power in a trade union. You go on strike, you make your demands, you get people around the table, and that's how you win. You actually win for ordinary people, and you do so through struggle and through being part of a trade union. And RMT, they're in the vanguard in many ways when it comes to the trade union movement. So it's a real pleasure and it's an honour to now invite Michael Hogg to speak from the RMT.
First and foremost, solidarity from the RMT. I'm proud, as an ex-miner there incidentally, to be on the stage at the People's Assembly, a fight in the union, a campaign in the union that fights for the justice for the workers. And we certainly make no apology for the fight, the campaigns that we've actually embarked upon, because our fight, our campaign is for the equality, justice and fairness. And we make no apology to no one, particularly when we're actually fighting the bosses. Now there are two themes to my contribution tonight. The first contribution is in relation to Scotland's railway. And we've actually embarked upon a campaign, and it includes the four rail unions in Scotland, RMT, TESA, Unite and ASLEF. And that's quite unique. It's quite unique in the sense that for the first time ever, to my knowledge, certainly since I've been involved, that the four unions have actually came together in order to actually fight a just state fight, in order to actually save Scotland's railway. And the reason we actually done that was the simple fact that a Billy O'Way ScotRail, who are actually on their way out, and rightly so, because they've underperformed and got away with murder for years under the banner of the franchising. Now, a Billy O'Way ScotRail have actually produced a report. It's called the Docherty Report. And the Docherty Report has disaster for Scotland's railway written all over it. It means job losses, it means less investment, and more importantly, what it means for the most vulnerable people within society, it means denial to access to Scotland's railway. That's unacceptable as far as the RMT, ASLEF, Unite and TESA are concerned. Hence the reason why the four unions came together. And one of the main reasons why the four unions came together, our industrial relations are an absolute shambles. Industrial relations is all about bullying, harassment in order to bully the trade unions into submission. And certainly they never got away with that when it came to the RMT, because the RMT, they certainly have a great history and a great background of fighting back in order to actually win fairness and justice for workers. And what we've actually done as a result is we've actually produced our own report, that actually stands up for Scotland's railway, a report that actually advocates the investment, a report that actually advocates support for Scotland's railway, and a report that actually advocates the access to Scotland's railway for the most vulnerable people within the society, because the slash and burn approach by Ability ScotRail, Transport Scotland and the Scottish State Government is unacceptable as far as the four unions is concerned. So we had a launch last week. And it was a fantastic launch. We got the maximum publicity. However, we're not just really going to sit on our laurels and allow the politicians, the Scottish Government, in order to actually ensure that Scotland's railway is actually invested with jobs and actually gives support to the most vulnerable people within society, and it gives jobs with decent terms, decent conditions. We need to actually campaign. We need to actually campaign because part of the Doherty report means 300 trains less a day. 300 trains less a day in over a 12-month period. What that means is 100,000 trains less a year. Now, we're in a situation where COP26, we were trying to encourage people with the green approach in order to stop using the cars and actually use public transport. Now with this slash and burn approach, by running less trains within Scotland, it's going to have the opposite effect. Hence the reason for the rail unions report that actually supports Scotland's railway. I think it's important also to actually make a reference also to the industrial relations within the railways in Scotland. As I said earlier, it's an absolute disaster, and it's got disaster written all over it. And what we actually need to do is we need to have industrial relations at the top of our agenda. The top of our agenda, because in order to actually have a railway that's fit for purpose, that actually supports workers and supports a railway, we need to actually have industrial relations that actually supports workers and supports the most vulnerable people within the society. Now, the money that's actually been spent on Scotland's railway, because we've been told that over the last 18 months when RNT embarked upon the industrial action, that there was no money. And if you want a pay increase for your members, then you're going to have to sell hard-earned terms and conditions. Now, we've been referenced as key workers, essential workers, and we've been treated with contempt. The same key workers, the same essential workers who came to their work every day, taking the risk every day, and taking the same risk back to their families every day. Not letting the bosses sit in their house and get paid a fortune. That's unacceptable as far as RNT is concerned. And the same companies, Ability ScotRail and Circle Caledonian received £36 million in EMAs, emergency measures agreements, that they actually received in order for them to actually turn around and say that there is no money in order to actually give key workers a pay rise. Unacceptable as far as the RNT is concerned, and RNT took industrial action. We took industrial action over an 18-month period. We've been in dispute with Ability ScotRail over the last 8 months, and I'm pleased to say last week common sense prevailed, where we got round the table and we actually came out with a deal, and we ended up with common sense prevailing for justice, common sense prevailing for fairness, and common sense prevailing for workers' fairness at the end of the day. So that was a fantastic result as far as the RNT is concerned, because what we've done is we've held the horse's feet to the fire. That's what we've done. And what we need to do also is find justice and fairness and equality for the Circle Caledonian sleeper workers, because these workers are faced with the same terms and conditions that's been faced by Ability ScotRail. If you want a pay increase, then you're going to have to sell hard-earned terms and conditions. That's unacceptable as far as the RNT is concerned. So we're looking forward to a positive future when Ability ScotRail get their marching orders. And we're hopeful, under the operator of last resort, being the people who will actually take over Scotland's railway. And top of the agenda, it has to be workers' rights, workers' jobs, workers' terms and workers' conditions. Because what we actually need is an accessible railway, a clean railway, an affordable railway and a safe railway, a railway for all that has the vision for the four main rail unions in Scotland that stands shoulder to shoulder with the workers. And I'm absolutely convinced with that right approach, with the right industrial relations being right and correct, I'm absolutely convinced we can actually deliver an absolute fantastic railway for the future that actually supports the most vulnerable people within society and gives access to Scotland's railway, including the disabled people within Scotland. Thank you very much.